This recording. We are about to start. As usual, as I had said earlier, so you need to remember that from where I am, it is a bit noisy. So you bear with the noise or you try to understand. So today, I want us to talk about a memorandum. Okay, in the previous class we talked about business letters as a form of functional writing. So all this is part of functional writing, and functional writing is that it's more of an official writing. Okay, so you are writing with a clear intention, and the writing can be kept as a record and even sometimes used as evidence. So now today we're going to talk about memoranda. Memoranda is plural for memorandum, or a short form for a memo. Okay, so now a memo in this case, or a memorandum, or simply a memo, is used for internal communication only. It is used for conveying information, decisions, making a request, providing response to a question, making suggestion, cover when presenting, or when presenting a report. When presenting a report, allow me to correct that, or presenting a report, proposing a solution to a problem, or documenting a reference for future use. Memos are used to communicate horizontally or downwards. Okay, horizontally meaning you're communicating with people at the same level, but in most cases, they'll be from the superiors to the juniors. Okay, from the management to subordinates. Okay, so that's a downward communication. Okay, it's part of the vertical communication. Okay, then any reply to a memo by officers of lower ranks can only be done through a letter. A CEO can communicate to line managers using a memo. Line managers can communicate to other line managers or to those below them in rank using memos. Rank is position. The rules governing letter writing also govern memos. On the other hand, memos are supposed to be brief and deal with only one issue or related issue. So, functions of a memo is to issue instructions to staff, to communicate policy changes in a company, e.g., merger with another company, to seek or give suggestions, to remind people of actions required about existing arrangements or regulations, to convene meetings, presentation. So, like this is how a typical memo will appear. A memo will have the following: it will have a field for to, a field for from, then a field for ref for the subject, then a date, then it will have, oh no, it will have to, it will have a to field, the person you're addressing to, from the source of the memo, ref, this is like the unique number that can be used to track the memo or to file the memo, then the date of writing the memo, then the subject, the subject in this case is uh, it is the topic or the issue you are going to talk about. Usually, the date that it's usually taken is the date that the memo will be pinned, or the notice board, or the date that the memo will be emailed to other employees or staff. So the first paragraph of the memo should provide a background or content or reason for the information or instructions in the second paragraph. Then the second paragraph is the actual message, like the body of the memo. So we have layout parts of our memos. The layout of memos is distinctly different from that of letters. Writers of memos should be careful not to adapt the layout of letters when writing memos. However, just like letters, the style to be used may be fully blocked or semi-blocked. So, usually a memo will have the address of the organization, the word memo in caps, in capitals, then to the recipient, from the source of the memo, date in full, then the reference for ease of referring or for the ease of checking and filing, then subject, the matter to be communicated, then the officer's initials. This should be initials. Can correct that typo, officer's initial, then special notation where applicable, such as CC. CC means that that is not the uh, primary recipient of the memo, but the person needs to be aware of. Like, let's say that we can take an example of a college, like where if the dean of students is communicating to students, then he or she will also CC the same to the principal. In other words, is that the primary target of the communication are students. However, it is in good faith, or it is a standard practice that the highest office in that institution is aware that such kind of communication has happened, because uh, the manager, in this case the principal, should is the overall person that is accountable for whatever is happening in the institution. So for this reason, whatever communication that may happen between other officers and students, then it is a good practice that the principal receives a copy of the same so that he or she is aware that such and such kind of communication happened. So this is how like the syntax of a memo can look like, or how a typical memo should look like. Okay. Then you can have your sample, for example, name of the organization is Kenyatta National Hospital, memorandum or memo to the superintendent. So you can do a correction here to the superintendent. Okay. So you can have here to the superintendent. Then from the executive director, then the ref number, that is the reference number. Now, reference number is used to track the memo or to file the memo. Then the date. The date is usually the date that the memo is circulated. Okay, so the memo could have been written earlier, but the date should be, or usually the date is usually the one that the day the memo is circulated. But however, it is possible to write earlier and then you stamp the current date. So the subject is the topic that you are going to talk about. So in this case, is that community health outreach. This is to remind you that as per the hospital annual policy of public social responsibility, comma, a special community health outreach has been organized to cover the towns of Kibera on 17th August 2020 and Kahawa on 18th 2020. On those days, the community will be availed with free dental and eye treatment in the two parishes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You are requested to choose the clinical officers and nurses who will be involved and make the necessary arrangement for the outreach KM or other initials. Okay, so that is in brief how a memo should look like. So if you use this sample, you can be able to write a memo. So you can, I'll share the notes, but you can use this sample to write a memo. Then you have notices. Now, notices is another type of functional writing. They are a form of written communication. They are clear and direct form of communicating items of importance to larger numbers of people within an organization. Most organizations have notice boards at prominent places. Uh, Prominent in this case means that a place that can be easily seen and accessed throughout the offices to bring special items to the attention of all staff. The information must be displayed attractively so that it gains attention and cooperation. Notices may be posted about new procedures, social events, advertisements for internal appointments, reports on matters of interest, remind of company procedures. Then they are also used to notify members of a meeting that is expected to be held on a certain date. They contain date of the meeting, place, venue of the meeting, time of the meeting, the people expected to meet, optional. Then we have advantages is that they have the advantages of notices is that they have good visual impact if properly they have good visual impact. So this is the advantages of notices is that they have visual impact if properly designed. They save time and money uh, because a large number of they're able to reach a large number of separate communications to individual disadvantages of notices. We are talking about disadvantages of notices. Disadvantages of notices. In this case, we are saying that many people get out of the habit of looking at a notice board if they become cluttered and overcrowded. Okay, what we are saying here is that most people will usually they'll tend not to give attention to notice board if there are so many things on the notice board. Then some notices can create ill feeling and create bad atmosphere if not carefully written. Okay, then another type of functional writing that we want to look at is something we call advertisements or adverts or ads. To advertise is to describe our service or product publicly in order to persuade people to buy or use it. Now, when you're talking about advertisement, is that you create something we call in business value proposition. In this case, is that you are making the public or the consumers to be aware of the usefulness or of the need of using this service or product. Okay, now a service can be something like teaching, banking, insurance. Okay, then a product can be something tangible, such as a bulb, a vehicle. Okay, then advertising is public communication. Okay, meaning that you're communicating to everyone through adverts. One is able to sell herself. Now, in this case of selling herself, is simply marketing the the good side of either your skills or your services. Okay, so that is what we mean by selling oneself. An organization may may also be able to sell itself through an advert. When talking about selling itself, it simply means that it's able to position itself in the mind of the public or consumers that it is the best organization or it produces the best products. The primary aim of adverts may be to sell an article, a holiday, a social function, a college course or job opportunity, etc. The authors of adverts seek to achieve readability and visual impact by considering some of the following: is that an advert should be eye-catching, okay, meaning it should have an eye-catching headline or title, meaning it should be very attractive. Then it should make a good use of the layout, should make a good use of the layout, okay. So I can put here, I can put here. So it should make a good use of the layout. We are saying that an advert should make good use of the layout and spacing. Then the best possible order for the information, the highlighting of details, the correct register for the intended reader. Okay, then the right balance between over compressed and continuous prose. Okay, so that as you try to package the information as brief as possible, you must also consider continuous prose. Continuous prose is that you can be able to read like in a continuous manner. Then the position and content of illustration. Then we have number four, another type of functional writing is what we're calling agenda. Agenda, if single, multiple is agenda. Agenda is a list of items to be discussed at a meeting. Very important that agenda is a list of items to be discussed at a meeting. It is circulated to the members in good time, usually 3 to 4 weeks before the meeting. It can be sent together with the meeting. Some items of the agenda are fixed and some appear only for particular meeting. Okay. Then we have what we call fixed agenda, so fixed items. Now, fixed items can be something like opening prayer and note of welcome. Okay, fixed item in this case is that they rarely change in any agenda. So we have opening prayer and note of welcome, apologies from absent members. Now, when we talk about apologies from absent members, these are members who have sought permission to be absent. Then we have minutes of last meeting, confirmation of previous minutes, matters arising from the previous meetings, uh, correspondence, then the day's business. Then we have other any other business or AOB, correspondence. This means the reaction or any communication to that one. That's what we mean. So these are what an example of fixed items, okay, or agenda. Then now, so agenda is simply a list of items to be discussed at a meeting. Now, we want to go to another type of functional writing known as minutes. Now, minutes is a summary. So when you're talking about minutes, is that it is a summary. Let me put that sentence case. I want to put it as sentence case, no, as a lowercase. So meetings, it is a summary. Can say here, it is a summary of points to consider when writing minutes. Okay, it's a summary of points to consider. Okay, so okay, in short, we can revert to the original. So we can say that a summary of points to consider when writing minutes. So what we're saying that before writing a minutes, you need to consider one, the correct format. You need to consider the correct format. Two, ensure that the names of all who attended are listed as well as absentees with or without permission. Okay, so we have people who can be absent in a meeting without communicating. So those ones are absent without permission. And when we have those who are absent but they communicate, so those are absent with permission. Then we have you need to write in clear and precise language. A precise language is that you are in brief. Then you need to be brief and stick to the points written during the actual meeting. Then you need to separate the various points discussed by using subtopics. By using subtopics and numbering, is that you will need to number your items. Then the number should be controlled by the months and year. So, for example, this is like so this means that this is the first minutes, the first months, and it was written in 1998. Second minute, first month, written in 1998. Examples of minutes. So here we have a sample or an example of minutes. Okay, so we have examples of minutes. Is that minutes of all academic heads held on 20th July 2013 at 10 a.m. in the food and beverage room at 11 p.m. Now, it is important that you indicate the title of the minutes, the date, the time. So you need to indicate the title. You also need to indicate the date, so where the minutes were held. You need to indicate the time where the minutes were held. So we have the date, we have the date, the time, the title, and the venue. The venue, okay, and the venue, okay. So this should be held at 10 a.m. in the food and beverages. So we don't need to have this one. This is an oversight, okay. Then from there, now those present, you need to have those present as part of your minutes, so you can see those present. Okay, then absent with apology. Your minutes should have absent with apology. You should have absent without apology. You should have agenda. Then you number your minutes. Mean the first minutes, the months, and the year. The second minutes, the months, and the year. So you can see. Third minutes, months, and year. Fourth minutes, months, and year. 50 minutes. So they should have like a confirmation of previous meetings, matters arising, award of certificates, end of term examinations. Then we can have the OOBs. Okay, so these are like some of the things that typically will form part of minutes. Then we need to have also adjournment. Adjournment means that now you are exiting, you are closing, okay, the minutes. So the adjournments will have the people that sign it. So you can see recorded by the recording, in this case, the person writing the minutes. So then, when adjournment, you must indicate at what time exactly did it end. So 1:30 p.m. approved by chairperson, then like that. Okay. Then we want us to go to the apart from them. So we are discussing minutes. I want us now to go and discuss. So we are discussing this. That's number five. I want us now to go to number six and discuss email. Okay. So that we discuss email. Okay. It should be number six. Let me correct that one. It should be number six. Okay. Now, the next thing we want to discuss core function of writing something we call emails. Now, an email is electronic mail. Electronic mail is simply it is like an electronic version of a paper letter, hard copy letter. So now, in business, we use a lot of emails. So it is important that you learn what is an email and how to write a good email, the best practices when writing an email. So when you are sending an inquiry about a job or applying for a job or writing other professional correspondence, corresponding in this case, exchange of information in a formal manner, it is important to format your email professionally as you would with any other business letter. After all, everyone, recruiters, hiring managers included, receives lots of email. Make sure that your emails stand out because of the content and not because of the sloppy mistakes, poor formatting, or overall casual language. Note: use a readable font, usually font size 10 to 12, size in your emails. Then send job search related emails from a professional email address only. Okay, so in this case, like if you're applying for a job, let's say that you are Jacob Otieno, so your email can be J Otieno or Jacob Otieno. Okay, so your email should not be the green fancy at gmail.com, or it should not be at the baddest at gmail.com. Okay, so is that you should use a professional email. Then ideally your email address should include some combination of your first and last name, or first initial and last name. Then here's what to include when sending business related correspondence and the email format you should use to send. Okay, how to format your email is that we need to format your email in a particular manner. Is that your email message should be formatted like a typical business letter with spaces between paragraphs and no typos. Typos, these are like spelling mistakes, okay? Don't mistake lengthy for quality. In this case, is that you need to keep your email brief and you should not just write a long email. Then avoid overly complicated or long sentences, okay? Make it easy for email recipients to quickly scan through your email and know why you are emailing. Then proofread it, okay? So you check for spellings and you check for the meaning of words, the semantics. So just like any other business communication or correspondence, if you are really concerned about typos, consider printing out the email draft. Often it is easier to catch typos and grammatical mistakes in hard copy while reviewing on the screen. Then review the email message template and sample email message below to see what your email should look like. Okay, so your email should have subject line. Don't forget to include subject line in your email. So you should not forget to include your subject line in your email. Then If you forget to include one, your message will probably isn't going to get opened. Okay. Now, a subject line is like the heading of that email. Okay. So you need to have that heading, because if you don't have that heading now, somebody may not know what exactly you are communicating about. Okay. So it could be application, complaint. So most people simply look at the heading. If there's no heading, they may not consider your email as important. Then salutation or greeting, very important. Always start with either hello or dear. Okay, so always greet a person. You are not at war, you are communicating. Okay, so always greet a person. Then the body of the message is that you must, the first paragraph, you should introduce that issue or yourself. Then the followed by the reason as to why you are writing. Then you must always like appreciate the time or appreciate the expected willingness of that person to assist. Then closing, include a formal closing such as sincerely or regards when ending your message. Okay, so you can end your message with warm regards, yours sincerely, yours faithfully. Okay, then include an email signature. It is important now. An email signature does not have to be like always the real signature. It could be some information about you. Okay, so that it could be like either your name, your title, or company is what we are calling an email signature. Then you can also include a link to your LinkedIn profile. Okay, LinkedIn profile is a website in which you display information that is like your CV. Then don't forget attachments. Now, if your email needs attachment, make sure that the attachments have been attached. Okay, if you're using Google, then you know that sometimes you attach and then it fails to pick the file. So make sure that it has the attachment. Then email message template. Okay, so here we have an email message template, so I can make it like a subheading. Then, so here is that we have a subject line of communication, for example, store manager position, then your name, then salutation, dear Mr., Miss, like that. Then first paragraph, then middle paragraph, final paragraph, then closing, sincerely or with. So you can close with sincerely, with warm regards. So you can close with warm regards. You can close yours faithfully, okay, etc., etc. means and so on. Then your name, then then here. Now this is an example of an email signature. You can put here your name, your email address, phone, and LinkedIn profile. A LinkedIn profile is simply a profile like to a website that is able to act like some kind of a CV site. So a LinkedIn website acts like a CV site. Okay, so I'll share these notes so that you can be able to catch up. Then, if you have any question, make sure that you reach out to me using the WhatsApp number or any other way of communicating. Thank you.